One of the most popular videos we've done on this channel in years back was showcasing Martin's very popular 15 series of guitars. Today it's time to revisit that series, take a look at some of the things that have changed and some of the things that thankfully have stayed the same. Stick around. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas, and you can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you are new to our channel, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our videos. If you want to support the channel, visit our Spring Store link below for custom swag and check out our podcast, the Fretboard Confessional, wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll have some new episodes. We're kind of busy. That's why Cooper's not with me right now. Divide and conquer so that we can take over the world with guitars. So thanks for joining me. Today, we're looking at the 15 series from Martin. Now, the 15 series has been one of the more popular series of Martin in the Martin lineup, and it really is the entry into the U.S.-made Martins, the Martins that are made in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, as opposed to their made in Mexico line of guitars, which are always also popular and great guitars. The 15 series is something that's been in the lineup, I think, since around the 30s, since the Great Depression. It was introduced initially to be a lower budget entry-level line of guitars, very simple appointments, very simple woods and finishes, and it has remained that over the years. Even as the price has crept up, as with everything, these have continued to be very, very good values compared to other acoustic guitars, whether they're made in the US or overseas. This has nothing to do with the series, but it is an interesting thing to look at the guitar landscape, whether it's electric guitars or acoustic guitars, and see that some of the American manufacturers are really giving you a lot of value for the money with their entry-level American-made guitars, while at the same time, some import guitars are going up and up in price, having comparative features, but costing more. It's kind of weird. I don't quite get it. It's for another video. I digress. So we're going to take a look at what's going on with the 15 series. There have been some new additions to the lineup. Unfortunately, I don't have every single model, but I do have every single body shape. So we're going to put them through their paces. You can hear in the demo what's going on with each body shape and the wonderful dry, mid-range rich tone that you get out of this series of guitars. Now, why do you get that nice, dry, fundamental, strong, mid-range rich tone? That's because all of these guitars in the 15 series feature solid mahogany construction for the top, back, and sides. And that combination for the back and sides gives you that nice, strong, fundamental mid-range, but having it on the top means that there's also a compressive factor that's going on. Anytime you have a hardwood like mahogany or koa or walnut on the top, it's going to kind of compress the sound in a very good way. It evens out your dynamics. It makes things kind of sweeter. It also increases your sustain if you think about it because of the aspect of evening out your dynamics. Now, you're not going to get the same volume out of a D15M as you are a D or HD28 or a D28, but you're going to get a very cool sound nonetheless. While we're on the subject of what's new, a little kind of in-the-moment note that I want to add. There is a running change that's taking place with the Martin 15 series that we were just notified. And I don't even know if it's reflected on Martin's website as of the time that we're recording this video. And I haven't seen any of the guitars hit the stores yet, but the tuners are changing on a lot of the guitars. In fact, let me grab one of these. This is a 0015M. To talk about what's changing. So for the longest time, these have had these open gear Grover tuners, and they're going to be switching to a similar style, but with I believe a black knob on the tuner instead of this kind of one-piece chrome. And the reason that Martin says that they are changing is because the manufacturer cannot keep up with demand for what they have in this series. So like I said, it's a popular series, and so evidently they're needing to change the tuners. So they look very cool, and I think actually it'll work with the aesthetic of these guitars. So while I've got one, let's talk about it. So as you can see again, you have all mahogany construction, mahogany top, back, and sides. It's all solid. Rosewood bridge and fingerboard are going to be consistent throughout all of these. You get a satin finish that's very nice. and a really comfortable neck profile. The one thing that I'm uncomfortable with on these guitars is the nut width for most of the models. It is a 1 11/16 inch nut width, except for the slotted headstock model, which is the 0015 SM I was previously holding. That one is 1 3/4 inch, but the profile for the neck is a little bit different, and of course it's a 12 fret neck instead of a 14 fret neck. So there's some changes that kind of go on throughout the line, but most of the things are the same. So you get the open gear tuners, you get the classic Martin headstock with the logo. You used to get a case, you don't. We had that question come up this week, so I do want to emphasize they have moved from a case, a hardshell case, to a very nice gig bag. And when I say nice, I mean very nice, very thick padded. It's not a hardshell case anymore. I'm sure that was in order to try to keep the price of these where they are. With everything going up, they can either raise the price of the guitar with the case, or they can keep the price of the guitar the same and give you a gig bag. So that's what's going on. Some people will hate that. Some people will be fine with that. Some people didn't know until I brought it up, so sorry. Some other things that we saw change on this lineup off and on throughout the pandemic was things like the pick guard going from faux tortoiseshell to black, depending upon availability. Again, it's just been kind of one of those things of like what is available for manufacturers from vendors to utilize, and can they still keep making guitars? But it looks like tortoiseshell has made a comeback. These typically, they all feature non-scalloped X bracing and have the scale lengths to typically match their model, except for this one. So this is a 000. I've always said it should technically be called an OM because it's got the longer scale length, but it has 000 bracing, so it's just kind of weird, and it's always been like that according to Martin. So it's more of a historical thing. So you've got your 000 15M. I would say that this is kind of the middle of the pack when it comes to body shape. This is going to excel at light to medium strumming and finger picking. I really like the sound of this whole series when it comes to like blues playing and you know, broad strums. It's got a really nice warm sound. If you need a bit more volume, there's a Dreadnought. There's actually technically 3 now in the lineup. This is the D15M Streetmaster edition. Now there's a standard D15M that's been in the lineup, and there's now a D15E, which is an M with a pickup, from what I understand, that's new this year. And I don't know why they didn't call it an ME, but there you go. This one, since it's a Streetmaster, it does have different tuners on it already. It's got aged hardware, and it's got a worn look to the finish. It's a very resonant sounding guitar. I really dig this guitar. I don't really want to, if you know what I mean, because some of this stuff I'm like, okay, but it feels really good and it plays really, really good. These have been extremely popular. We can't hardly keep these in stock, so the reason I don't have a normal D15M is because they sell out as soon as we get them. But this is the biggest body shape in the 15 series. It's a Dreadnought. It's going to give you that big, bold strumming sound. There's going to be a lot of emphasis on the low end if you do single note stuff because of the body shape and the size that it has. A lot of volume. This might be my favorite in the series right now just because of the resonance that you get out of it and the volume that you get out of it. 1 3/4 inch nut width would just put me over the moon, but I really like this guitar. I like the tuners. I like the aesthetic. I like the sound. So you saw the medium. This is the biggest one. Now we can go to really one of the smaller ones in the lineup. This is the 0015M. This is probably the least popular in the series. Do you know why? I'll tell you why. Because people are used to saying 000 and D. That's pretty much it. Honestly. People who have played this, I tend to find are immediate fans. It's a little smaller than a 000. Hence why there's only 2 O's or 2 zeros in the name. But what it does is it gives you a really, really sweet sound. But unlike the 0015 SM, which is also a small body, it has a full 14-inch neck. And so I feel like it's a bit more versatile because of that. I'm a huge 12-fret fan, but sometimes you need the extra 2 frets coming off the body, you know what I mean? So this one gives you a good bit of volume. It's not going to be great for like really aggressive attack. For one thing, because of the small body. For another thing, because of the mahogany top. It's going to compress. If you're wanting to like dig in and get a lot of volume, this is not the guitar for you. But if you like an intimate sound where you can just kind of sit and pick and play and have a really wonderful warm tone, this is a fantastic guitar. And if you compare it to the 0015 SM, you can see that broadly they're kind of around the same size. The 0015 SM, because it's a slotted headstock, gives you a round or sloped shoulder design. That's typically what you'll see in the Martin lineup. If it's got slotted headstock, usually you'll have a sloped shoulder size. So this being a 12 fret and being a sloped shoulder feels like a smaller guitar. In truth, these are very, very similar. You're just going to kind of get different things out of them. This one might be the most popular one that we carry. The 0015 SM tends to be difficult for us to even warehouse. They sell so quickly. And it's easy to understand why. A 12 fret, by definition, is going to be warm because you've moved the location of the bridge. If you take a look at where these two are, the bridge is further down because the neck joins at the 12th fret to the 14th fret, but the scale length is the same. And so it's immediately more open sounding, very, very warm, and fantastic for fingerstyle. I like the wider nut width on this guitar as well. So we're gonna play a demo for you. Now here is where I am transparent in saying this. So there's two things where I didn't reshoot flubs that I made in this demo. And that's because of the narrower nut width that I already mentioned. So I'm used to 1 3/4 inch nut width, and I typically am not a guy that gets caught up in specs on a guitar. A lot of my electric guitars are very different. A lot of my acoustic guitars are very different. I tend to feel that guitars have different songs and different sounds in them, and so bring on the differences. But if I'm playing fingerstyle pieces or stuff, a lot of single note stuff, I am on an acoustic guitar specifically, just a little bit more comfortable with a wider nut width. That's just me. Your mileage may vary. There's one other thing about this series, if I could change anything at all, that is very apparent in this demonstration, and that is that for some reason, Martin, I guess to keep costs down, or actually it's probably for history, they only have a single dot on the side of the neck for all of the positions, including the 12th fret position. And you know, if all you do in your life is play guitar and look down at the sides of necks and utilize 2 dots to have your bearings, not having that can be quite frustrating. So there are a few times when recording these guitars that I literally lost my place because it only had 1 dot. If I owned one of these, I'd probably make a note there. For a lot of you, probably wouldn't bother you at all. And don't look at the front of the fretboard for orientation. That'll throw you off even more. So other than that, really great guitars. Take a listen for yourself. So there you have it. We're back, and I'm back with what I think is my new favorite one in the line, the D15M Streetmaster. So each one offers a little bit different, a little different volume, a little different kind of rolling on the attack and on the strings. And I hear when I'm listening to them that some of these guitars, like even an individual note, might have just a different roundness to it than on the other one. And that's really the power of what body shapes, bracing, and scale length along with neck construction do, even if all the tone woods in the builder is exactly the same. So this is a fun kind of educational experiment, but also a good demonstration of what's available in the line. So 15 series has a lot to offer. It's still an incredible value if you're wanting an American-made Martin, but you can't or don't want to shell out the funds for like a standard series. The 15, 16, and 17 really have a lot to offer before you get there, and I think it's kind of a no-brainer as to why the 15 series remains one of the most popular series and most popular individual models in the series that Martin does. So I'd like to know from you, have you had experience with the 15 series? If so, what were your thoughts and what did you think about the demonstration and what you heard from each individual guitar? Also, Streetmaster, yay? How many people like it? How many people don't like it? I'm just curious, taking a straw poll. And what do you think about the running change with the tuners? I think it's going to be fine. The tuners look pretty good from what I've seen. And again, they kind of meet the aesthetic of the guitar. So anyways, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, if you're new to our channel, you should know what to do by now. You want to subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos, and keep coming back for more. And if you want to check out any of these specifically or own one, go to our website at alamomusic.com. As always, I'm Chris McKee. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.